Hello, Miss Bell's Algebra 2 class. I'm looking at this quadratic formula quiz review. I know she has like the answers posted, so if you just want to go right to the answers, get to it. I'm going to take you through the odd ones, show you another even one, so you have at least more than half of it done. So here we go. Remember the standard form for a quadratic equation is going to be ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. We got to set it equal to 0. The first one is done for us, set to 0, and we just pick out our a, b, and c. Once we figure out our a, b's, and c's, we plug in those a, b's, and c's into the quadratic formula, and we just then work it out. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work out what is in the square root, underneath the square root. Just work all that out on my calculator, and I got 252 for that. And you could pause this as I move forward. 252 could be broken down to, remember you can go into your graphing calculator to figure out the all of the the factors that would be involved with 252. And then you hit table, and you can figure out, you can find the one that's going to be a perfect square, and so you can square root that and bring that out. And so what I did was I did that with 252, and it's 36 times 7. Square root of 36 I know is 6, so I could bring that out. So I'm left with this -6 and this positive, or -6, and this 12. The 6's and the 12 can all be divisible by 6, so that would be 1 up top and a 2, because 12 divided by 12 is 2. And so you could write it like this, you could leave it like that, or you could write it like this. It's going to be a -1/2 and plus or minus the square root of 7 divided by 2. Number 3 is already set to 0 also, so here's your a, b, and c. And so you do what's in the square root. And I'm going to bring out a negative by bringing out an I, because this would be, you could make this into 15 times -1. -1 square root of -1 is I, so that we don't have, a negative square root anymore. And you can just leave it like this. For number 5, I've got to set this to 0, so I subtract 19 from both sides. I figure out my a, b, and c values. I plug it into the formula. I do what's under the square root. There should be a parenthesis back here. And that would be 313. I'm actually done here. There's nothing I could do with that 313 as far as finding any numbers that are going to be, perfect squares. So it's just going to be -3 plus or minus square root of 313 over 8. And I could break that up if I want to. And write it like that. I could write it individually, plus that or minus that. I'm putting it all in one there, just leaving the plus or minus. All right, I can take this -4m squared and add it to the side. So -5m squared plus 4m squared gives me just -m squared. And that would be a -1. So my a is -1, my b is -4, and my c is set 117. I complete what's in the square root first. Square root of 484 is 22. So I could actually work this one out. 4 plus 22 is 26 divided by -2 gives me -13. Or I would have 18 divided by 2. So 4 minus that would be 18. So I'd have a -18 over a -2 just makes it positive, a negative over a negative. So 18 divided by 2 would be 9. And then number 9, I figure out my a, b, and my c. Plug those into the quadratic formula. And now I have square root of -352. I can break up the 352 into 16 and 22. I also have to bring out that negative, so square root of 4, or square root of 16 is 4, and that negative I bring out as an I. So now I have 4 and 16. They both can be divided by 4, so I have plus or minus I square root of 22 over 4. I just got rid of, 4 divided by 4 is 1, so I just have a 1 up here. I don't need to write it. 16 divided by 4 is 4. That's how that changed to 4. Okay, if you needed to see this one, number 6, if you weren't in class, we did this one in class. You can, at least see that one, pause it, and here is the very end. All right, just the calculator hack. I'm explaining how you would do that in your calculator in order to find the square root of 164 and any numbers that you can bust up, into bringing out a perfect square. You would do y equals button 164 divided by x, and then hit table, and we found 4 and 41 in that table. As 4 is the only one that's going to be a perfect square that we can square root and get a 2 out and leave the 41 in. All right. Hopefully this was helpful, and good luck getting ready for your test tomorrow.